Hey everybody, what's going on? Geoff Mosher here with another Inside the Birds Minute, and this is presented, of course, by DraftKings, the country's best sportsbook app. For a limited time, all new users of DraftKings Sportsbook app can get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000 by using the promo code ITB. That's right, Inside the Birds. So use the promo code ITB to get your sign-up bonus of up to $1,000 on DraftKings. All right, I want to talk about pro days, the NFL, everything that's going on, and how the coronavirus plays its part. As of right this second, it sounds as if the NFL draft is under consideration to see if the NFL has to do something about either moving it, postponing it, or whatever because of the coronavirus. But right now, we're talking about the pro day circuit, which has already begun and is going to be taking place over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Now, there was a report that Eagles coaches have been pulled off the pro day circuit, that they are not going to be traveling to different pro days around the country to take part in the pro day scouting. That is accurate. But I was told on Wednesday, today's Thursday that I'm recording this, on Wednesday I was told from an Eagles source that the scouts are still doing their thing. So the Eagles have a very large scouting staff. They are dispersing their scouts across the country to go to these pro days. And that part of the process right now remains unchanged. Now, if flights are shut down or something happens in the future that precludes the scouts from being able to get to these places, there'll be a change and adjustment that will impact every single NFL team. But for right now, the coaches are grounded, the scouts are out there doing their work. Now, it's very important. The scouts are a big part of the the coaches are a big part of the scouting process. Obviously, the scouts write up their reports. They get passed on to the coaches. The coaches watch tape of these guys. The coaches go to the pro days. The coaches conduct private workouts, and then they have their input in the meetings and then in the war room on draft day. The coaches will still have an impact. And in fact, thanks to modern technology, coaches are still doing scouting work even though they're not allowed, even though they've been pulled off the pro day circuit. For example, I was told yesterday that Eagles wide receiver coach Aaron Moorhead, the new wide receivers coach, was doing a FaceTime session. He's scheduled to do a FaceTime session either Thursday or Friday of this week with one of the top wide receiver prospects in the draft. So I imagine that all of the position coaches are doing that with all of the main prospects that are involved in this year's draft, and that's a way that without being there, without being on hand, you can still get to know the draft prospect. We talk about vetting and how the Eagles need to do a much better job, whether it's hiring coaches or picking, guys out of college, of knowing who they're getting, knowing what they're made of, knowing what they're built of. And in the absence of being there, it's good to be able to use FaceTime and other forms of technology to be able to kind of get to know who these prospects are. So we'll see going forward if anything else changes as far as private workouts, which are another thing that takes place in the month of March and April, as coaches really and teams really start to show interest in certain prospects. That might change. They may not get the opportunity to do that. We'll also find out about the local pro day. You're allowed 30 visits for college prospects that you identify that you want to come in to your headquarters. So we'll see if that gets changed. But also even the local ones, you have, I don't want to say it unlimited, but you have way more of an opportunity to see guys who play at schools that are within your a certain distance of your headquarters. So like Temple, for example, is an example. Now, speaking of Temple, if you're a big Temple fan, you'll notice that Marshall Yanda, their Pro Bowl guard, who is 35 years old but still had made 3 straight Pro Bowls, has retired. And I would expect the Ravens to be looking at upgrading their offensive line. And I just mentioned Temple. Temple's interior offensive lineman, Matt Hennessy, he's a center/guard, is considered one of the best interior offensive linemen in the draft. And he's a guy who's getting, day 2 buzz, but maybe early day 2, second round, early third round, maybe even early second round. So I feel like the Ravens are a good team to kind of have their eye on Matt Hennessy, given that they just lost one of their Pro Bowl guards to retirement. So that's about it right now. I mean, obviously we need a lot more information. We'll see how the league reacts in terms of how it treats its draft. And, obviously if flights are shut down, then taking those top 30 visits into the NovaCare or whatever NFL team's headquarters that would normally take place in March and early April. Those might be adjusted and altered. But we've got a lot more to find out. But at least we know that while the coaches are grounded for the moment, they're still using whatever resources they have to keep in touch with these and get to know these college prospects. All right, this is Geoff Mosher. This has been an Inside the Birds Minute. Make sure you are checking out all our great content on InsideTheBirds.com. You'll have stories from me, stories from Adam Caplan, a lot of great draft profile stories from Andrew DeCecco, who right now is supposed to be doing his pro day tour. It actually starts next week. Now, he's already received word from Rutgers, for example, that they are not canceling their pro day, but they are not allowing media inside their bubble. So any writers who had planned to cover the Rutgers pro day will not get accessibility inside the bubble to watch the practices, nor will they have accessibility to talk to the players. So that's an example of how coverage of pro days is changed a little bit, even if the pro day itself is not changed. Andrew did tell me he has not heard from Penn State on a cancellation. So it sounds like right now, as I record this on Thursday, March 12th, the Penn State Media Day will be open to the public. That's an important one. KJ Hamler will run his 40-yard dash there. He didn't run it at the Combine, so all eyes are kind of on State College, Pennsylvania for his pro day and when they run that 40, which will happen next week. And Andrew will have full reports on all of his pro day visits and interviews on InsideTheBirds.com. Another reason to make sure you're checking out the website. And please, for now, we haven't changed anything about our NFL first-round draft watch party. It's going to be at Frankfurt Hall in Fishtown, April 23rd, Thursday, 7 o'clock. Me, Adam Caplan, Andrew DeCecco will be stopping by. We'll have a special guest from the Eagles there. So please come out. It's a great place. It's a beer garden. It's a great place to drink, watch the first round of the NFL draft, hear me and Adam talk about the information that we've learned leading up to the draft and who the Eagles might be taking in the first round. For right now, it's still on. So until you hear from us, don't think it's off, and we look forward to seeing you there. And do make sure you're checking out the latest Inside the Birds podcast on all your podcast platforms. And if you have a minute, please, please, please rate, review the podcast. Give us 5 stars. Let us know how you feel. All the feedback is appreciated. All right, we'll talk to you guys on the next Inside the Birds Minute.